Thank you. A very good evening to you all, friends. I, Sanjeev Singhal, Central Council member and chairperson of the Committee for Member in Practice, welcome you to this webcast on success story of women CAs and different dimensions of GST practice. This webinar will have two panel discussions. The first one will focus on success stories of the women CAs. May I request everyone to be on mute, please. Anilji, make me a host. Anilji. Anil Lalji or VCI, please make me a host. I would request everyone to be on mute until you are speaking. Thank you. So I, Sanjeev Singhal, along with my co-chairman, Prasanna D, welcome you to this very differently designed program on success stories of women CA and the different dimensions of GST practice. For the success stories of the women CAs, we have three esteemed panelists, CA Surbhi Marwa, CA Asha Jainji, and CA Pallavi Dinodia Gupta. And to host the program, I have a chairperson of the Jalandhar branch, CA Sonia Arora ji. Welcome, Sonia ji, to this program. And CA Smriti Kohli ji, who is the convener of the Kashmir chapter of the ICAI. We also have the secretary, Jalandhar branch, CA Gurleen Singh Sani ji. My heartfelt thanks to all the panelists for joining us on the first panel, and for the second panel, we will have CA Rohini Agarwal ji, who will be joining us in the second session. I would request all the panelists to be on mute, please, particularly VC ICAI at ICAI.in and Pallavi Anand. I can see. Kindly be on mute. The Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, under the Committee for Member in Practice, is undertaking various initiatives. The foremost are the capacity building programs like this, or sharing the expertise with the members. In addition, we have come out with 31 types of the discount schemes, which range from medical insurance to term insurance to professional indemnity insurance, books, softwares, laptops, etc. And the Committee for Member in Practice is also coming out with 4 digital audit tools, namely the audit documentation software, data analytical software, practice management software, and digital library. These will help build capacity for the members in practice, and digital library will be available for all the members, whether in practice or in industry. We are also running 3 certificate courses, which are on working paper management, wealth management, and drafting of the appeals. This would not have been possible without the active support of my co-chairman, Prasanna Kumar D, who himself is an all-rounder, who is basically contributing a lot in the examination committee and disciplinary committee. All 3 years he's been in the standing committee, and he's we call him a permanent co-chairman of this Committee for Member in Practice. It is his 3rd year in the Committee for Member in Practice. I'm really thankful to him for his active support, and I will invite Prasanna ji for his opening remarks before we start the panel discussion. Over to you, Prasanna ji.
Very good evening to all. Thank you so much, Sanjeev sir. My heartfelt thanks to you for organizing such a wonderful event and giving us an opportunity to host this event. Actually, being both my thanks to the chairman as well as the vice chairman of this committee. Being a male, he is organizing a beautiful event for the female one. So I think they seriously get a huge round of applause from our side, from all the females. And for Sanjeev sir, I must seriously salute the spirit of sir, who is working endlessly in this field. Service to humanity is what we derive from his action. His contribution in pandemic is really remarkable, sir. So we always felt as loss of words for Sanjeev sir personality, and for Sanya sir. Sir, you are truly a man of passion, dedication, and determination and inspiration for us. Having a vision to take all along to the great heights. So it's a pleasure that we got the opportunity to hear a word of wisdom from you. And now we are already having eminent personalities as a speaker, and being a female, it's really an honor for me to host an event for the female one. And we are having Rohini Agarwal ma'am, Surbhi Maha, Asha Jain ma'am, and Palvidan Nurwasi. So before starting this, I must say I believe both the genders, they are equally significant, and for optimum utilization of one's talent, the other one is required. So I think the ICAI is already focused on this, and this is the only reason where men and male and female both take profession and strive like counterparts and not subordinates. I am elated to be part of such system where both are considered as a pillar and they are taken as a two side of a coin. There is no discrimination between a male and a female. And the example have been said that they have organized the event for a female by a male committee, Sanjeev sir and Prasanna sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving this wonderful opportunity to us. Now I request Prasanna sir to please say a few words.
Respected CA Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Singhal, Honorable Chairman of the Committee for Members in Practice, and CA Sonia, Chairperson of Jalandhar Branch, dynamic personality, first time I'm seeing her. Gurlinj Singh Sahani, the Secretary of Jalandhar Branch, and CA Rohini, CA Surabhi, CA Asha, CA Pallavi, and the participants of today's program. So, good evening to all of you. It's my proud privilege to welcome you all for this program, which is organized for the first time with all the women. So, Sonia was talking about gender. No, gender doesn't have any meaning at all. That should be removed from the dictionary. Now we're all equal. We are human beings. That's the only race is human being. Nothing beyond that. We have come to the stage after undergoing so many decades of improvement and getting the gender equality. I'm very happy that today all women are there to showcase we are no short of anybody else. That's a very great message is going through this particular thing. And we have got the success story of women. Women and success, they go together. You will not find women who are lost. Success story, if you see, there's no woman has lost in the history also. So if at all there's a person, male who is successful, there's a saying also, the woman is behind us. So that success stories, particularly GST practice we're going to have today, and I'm sure it will be a very good experience for all of us. And as our chairman was telling, so we've got a lot of initiative brought in. We have a very dynamic chairman. This is my third year of the vice chairmanship, and I've seen the way Sanjeev Singhal has taken it forward to see that many types have been made, not only for the professional front, but personal front also. And as he's a great human being himself, who is into service of the mankind. I know he has got CA Parivar, a very great organization. They have done so many things. I have to have a CPE seminar for that. I need another 1 hour to tell what he has done there. So recently they donated an oxygen plant also. So third wave, we don't expect it. If at all it comes, it's inevitable. I think Sanjeev Singhal is there, ready to help the entire fraternity and ICAI employees and we show humanity also. So we have got, as he has told, that whatever types we have is our desire. That we should utilize. We deserve a lot of satisfaction when you utilize all those things available. You please visit one site, that is CMP benefits at the rate of ICAI.org. These are CMP benefits at ICAI.org. Please visit that. All the schemes are there. You please see whichever is suitable to you and utilize that one. You tell your friends how to utilize those things. That is the one which gives you human satisfaction. With these few words, wish you all the best today. I will be continuing the meeting, but still, very interesting thing is the chairperson Jalandhar branch. She made it such a thing. First, I did not know she's a child accountant. When she was started speaking, I thought she's some event management. Somebody is there who is a master of ceremonies. So I'm happy to learn that he's a chartered accountant. I'm proud. We chartered accountant is a multifaceted personality. One such personality is Sonia. So welcome you, Sonia, once again. Thank you very much for hosting this program. Over to Sonia.
Thank you so much, sir, for the nice words. So actually, the engine of this is the bullet train of Sanjeev Singhal, sir. The energy automatically influence in the room. That's why we are so much charged.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prasanna ji. Friends, let us start now with the first session, and let me introduce the panelists. It's really a great pleasure to introduce CA Asha Jain ji, who is the immediate past chairperson, Hisar branch of the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India. She is the first lady to be in the executive committee of the Hisar branch, not to talk of the chairperson. And Hisar branch has been in existence since 1988. And I think Sonia ji is also the first chairperson of the Jalandhar branch. Asha ji has done her schooling and CA from Mumbai, and then she was married in Hisar in 1991 in a business family. She received an honor from past president late CA Rahul Roy, being the first practicing lady chartered accountant of Hisar. She has successfully balanced her personal and professional life and is living in a joint family since last 3 decades. Thank you, Asha ji, for joining us this evening. And I would now request Sonia ji to kindly introduce our another panelist, CA Surbi Marwa. Over to you, Sonia.
It's really an honor to introduce CA Surbi Marwa ma'am, who is a lady full of grace and a passion, I must say. She specializes in various aspects of employee mobility, including immigration planning, exchange control, formulation of global mobility policies for inbound and outbound assignees, tax planning and compliance. She has worked in the area of development and design of employee incentive schemes, including equity-based plans for listed and non-listed companies. She has advised clients on the process, compliance, and other related issues that will arise on deputing ex parties in and out of India, as well as local employees. So, ma'am is not having a national as well as an international exposure to assisted client in tax compliance and advisory of for inbound and outbound assignees, especially on the provisions of double taxation avoidance agreements. Authors many articles. So, ma'am is also a writer and author, immigration issues for leading newspaper, magazines, and journal for our organization, and has been a speaker at various forums. She has assisted client compensation. I think my voice was muted earlier.
Yeah.
Sorry, extremely sorry. So it's an honor to welcome a lady full of grace and compassion, CA Surbi Marwa ma'am. She specialized in various aspects of employee mobility, including immigration, planning, exchange control, formulation of global mobility, policies for inbound and outbound assignees, tax planning, and compliance. She worked in the area of development of employees incentive scheme, including equity-based plans for listed as well as non-listed companies. She has also advised clients on the process and compliances and other related issues that will arise on deputing ex parties in and out of India, not having national but international exposure also. She assisted client in tax compliance and advisory for inbound and outbound assignees, especially on the provision of double taxation avoidance agreement. And she is also author and have written so many articles on tax and immigration issues for leading newspapers, magazines, journals of organization, and has been a speaker at various forums. Assisted in clients in compensation structuring for their local employees, including advice on tax, efficient as well as advisory. She also worked on the review of various car lease policies from clients from an employer withholding tax perspective. So I think the area of ma'am is so wide. It's a pleasure that we have got the opportunity to interact with ma'am today and to listen her story of success.
Thanks a lot, Sonia ji. We welcome Surbi you on the panel this evening. I would now request the convener, our Kashmir chapter, Smriti Kohli ji, to kindly introduce our another eminent panelist, CA Pallavi Dinodia ji. Smriti ji, kindly unmute yourself.
Smriti ma'am, I think till the time.
Yeah. So I would request Sonia ji to kindly introduce Pallavi.
Gulin ji, can you introduce Pallavi ma'am?
Thank you, Sonia ma'am. Good afternoon, good evening, all the members. I feel honored that I've been given a chance to introduce the lovely lady. Palvi Ninodia Gupta is a partner at SR Ninodia and Company, LLP Chartered Accountants. The firm is among the top 15 practices in India and one of the oldest. Palvi has been voted as one of the top women, world's leading tax controversy practitioners by International Tax Review IDEA for the 6th year running in 2020. She is also ranked by the IDEA as highly regarded in Indian tax jurisdiction for tax and transfer pricing for the year 2021. Palvi has had a career spanning over 18 years. Over the last decade, she has specialized in transfer pricing and international taxation, gaining significant repute across India for her expertise in the field. आज हमारे पास सारे international taxation पे expert panelists हैं. She advises corporate both domestic and foreign, helping them to fulfill their complex compliance requirements in India. In addition, she acts as a counsel representing them before quasi-judicial authorities and IDAT in India on matters ranging from transfer pricing, dispute resolutions, and advanced pricing arrangements and avoidance of double taxation. She has worked extensively with global business across Asia, the United States, and Europe on advisory and transactional works. Palvi authored the bestseller Transfer Pricing Demystified, published by Bharat Law House in 2013, which has been updated since then in line with the changing CPE ecosystem in India. The third edition of the book was released in 2019. She is regularly invited to speak at tax conference and at the chambers of the commerce like FICCI and CII. She has been a part of the various tax committees at the ICAI and also spoken at numerous ICAI events on complex of tax issues. She is a regular contributor to the industry publications. She has graduated with distinction in commerce honors from Lady Shri Ram College, University of Delhi. She is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. She holds a degree in law from University of Delhi. She is qualified DISA as well as certified international tax expert. So I feel honored to read her profile, and I welcome you to this panel, ma'am. Over to Sanjeev, sir.
Thanks, Pallaviji, for joining us this evening. With this introduction, let us start with the panel discussion. And the way we planned it, we'll ask one question to each of the panelists and then move to the next set of questions. Asha ji, starting with you. You've done your schooling or CA from Mumbai, a metropolitan city or a cosmopolitan city, whatever you may call it, and then married and settled in Hisar, doing practice in Hisar. And then also becoming the chairperson of the Hisar branch. How has been this journey? What are the challenges faced and how did you overcome this? Over to you, Asha.
Thank you, Sanjeev ji. First, I would like to thank ICAI and especially the committee for members in practice, chaired by CA Sanjeev Singhal ji, Vice Chairman CA Prasanna ji, Chairperson of Jalandhar branch, and the Secretary for giving us this opportunity to share our opinions, experience, and views with the members from this platform. I would like to add that the Committee for Members in Practice is doing a wonderful job by providing various tools, softwares, etc. at free of cost or at concessional rates. Thank you, Sanjeev ji, Prasanna ji, for serving the members with so dedication. And Sanjeev ji has done a wonderful job during the pandemic, COVID pandemic wave 2 with the CA Parivar. Hats off to Sanjeev ji for such a wonderful job. Now, yes, it was really a challenging job. Coming from metropolitan city to a city like Hisar, matlab, last 30 साल पहले तो Hisar was just like today's village actually, with no proper electricity connection, water, and moreover, मेरा तो एक CA का group is CA final group 2 was remaining when I got married. There was no center at Hisar, and coming from a nuclear family in Mumbai to a joint family, that also business family, it was really challenging how to complete my CA. But one should never give up. I have seen girls, they leave it after 1 hour or 2 attempts. But see, if you don't complete your CA, the task was, I would have been a housewife. Agar main nahi karti CA to, so with a strong determination, लाइटिंग कनेक्शन नहीं था तब, तो ट्यूबलाइट्स भी नहीं चलती थी हमारे टाइम पे 30 इयर्स पहले। तो जस्ट रिमेम्बर, मुंबई में तो हमने कभी देखा ही नहीं था ऐसा। और यहाँ तो बल्ब का फिलामेंट, आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर, शाम होती वो बल्ब का सिर्फ फिलामेंट होता था, बिकॉज द वोल्टेज यूज्ड टू बी सो लो। तो फुल डे, और आज तो सब फैसिलिटीज है, जैसे यू गेट फुल टाइम मेड एंड एवरीथिंग। 30 years back it was not that way। मेरे ख्याल से आप लोग कोई भी उतने पुराने नहीं होंगे, लेकिन एक डिटर्मिनेशन था कि आई हैव टू डू इट एट एनी कॉस्ट। सो सेंटर में नहीं था हिसार में, आई हैड टू गो टू दिल्ली और मुंबई फॉर द सीए एग्जाम्स। एनी हाउ विद स्ट्रॉन्ग डेडिकेशन आई डिड इट, कि यही था, बस किसी भी तरह करना है। वो स्ट्रॉन्ग डिटर्मिनेशन बहुत जरूरी है। एंड आई विल गिव अ मैसेज टू ऑल द लेडीज आल्सो कि नेवर एवर गिव अप। आपका एक ग्रुप, दो ग्रुप जो रह रहा है, determined and do it. Over to you, Sanjeev ji.
Amazing, Asha ji. I mean, this journey and electricity and all the issues. And
filament तो मैंने कभी देखा ही नहीं था।
देखा ही नहीं था।
First time I still remember का फिलामेंट। बॉम्बे में तो ऐसा कोई इश्यू ही नहीं था बेसिकली ना। We used to live in a बिड़ला कॉलोनी, तो वहां तो 24 hours पानी, लाइट सब फ्री था।
Right.
Then also
Great.
studying and was a great.
Right. Great. So Sonia ji, over to you for the next question to Surbhi.
Okay. So ma'am, I want to ask one more question. How do you make your presence in Hisar branch amongst male dominated society?
क्या क्वेश्चन टू मी क्या सोनिया मैम?
Yeah, आशा जी।
अच्छा, ओके। एक्चुअली वही, जब मैं हिसार आई तो आई वाज द ओनली लेडी सीए, वो भी एक चैलेंज था। एंड नॉर्थ इंडियंस, यू नो ऑल, कोई और सीए ही नहीं था, प्लस 30 years पहले तो इट वाज सो बैकवर्ड। सो आई ट्राइड, बट आई जॉइंड वन ऑफ द सीनियर मोस्ट फर्म्स इन हिसार टू बी इन टच। एंड फिर आई जॉइंड इवन स्टडी सर्कल। I used to actively participate in all the seminars, though I used to be the only female CAs in all the meetings. Most of our senior CC members and all know, they all know that I used to be the only lady. But then also I was determined to keep myself active. So that way I got recognition, means na. Joined the study circle also, actively participated in all the meetings, whatever functions be there of ICAI.
Actually मैम, out of difficulties grow miracles. तो ये जो चीज थी actually if so many difficulties you have faced, either of electricity, then only female over there, so see the platform. Yeah,
one can imagine.
This is
one cannot imagine even now कि कोई मुंबई से आके generally someone settles in his
that position of English is a right one. You have proved that ki out of difficulty, seriously it's miracle.
But one thing I'll add, Sonia, since destiny brought me in Hisar, so here I became a chairperson. Mumbai mein to I would have been one among the other CAs.
Yeah, na?
And ma'am, how do you feel when you go to the departments and you know, because sometimes what happens is, I remember then that once when I went to a department, income tax, and there was a chartered accountant, and he's like, "Acha, you also aap bhi aate hain kya department?" I mean, because sometimes na male member or maybe some few of the chartered account in fact income tax department also, they also feel okay ki female kaun aa gaya. So that is there are few things. So departments में जाके how do you feel? I mean,
generally ma'am वही ना कि इधर का वो culture ही नहीं था, तो generally I don't used to go to department. Senior partner है ना, he only used to go कि मैम आप जाओगे तो वहाँ unnecessary वो भी embarrassed feel करेगा, आप भी। इसीलिए अभी तो nowadays the situation is different. जैसे some 30 years back the situation was quite different. तब तो कोई होता था डिपार्टमेंट में ना, लेडी सीएस भी, लेडी ऑफिसर्स भी कम थे तब।
एंड अब फेसलेस के बाद और ही सब
करेंगे, ऑब्वियसली बेटर है। अब फेसलेस तो बहुत अच्छा हो गया, आई थिंक इट्स गुड फॉर द लेडीज। फेसलेस में वी कैन रिप्रेजेंट इन अ बेटर मैनर, इट्स अ गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी।
Next to the, I think Sanjeev sir, the Palvi ma'am, the question for the Palvi ma'am.
Yeah.
Auntie Sonia, go ahead.
So, ma'am, as they have asked ki for the female one going to the department is tough, but do you see ki women have a certain disadvantages or advantages while practicing as a CA profession?
I think that you have both advantages and disadvantages. So I started going to the department when I was 14 with my grandfather. वो मुझे कहते थे कि फाइलें उठाओ, ITR उठाओ, इतनी मोटी-मोटी बुक्स होती थी, तो वो खुद उठाते थे. तो वो कहते थे तुम उठाओ और तुम साथ चलो. So I've been going to the tax department since I was 14 years old. So I have literally grown up in the tax department. मतलब मुझे तो लगता ही नहीं है कि tax department is different from home. You know, coming to office or going to ITAT or CR building for me is like, मुझे तो मतलब even from the PA to everybody knows कि अच्छा आ गया, फिर आ गया, अब business हो गया, फिर भी आ गया. So you know, मुझे तो कभी disadvantage लगा ही नहीं. You know, going to the tax department, I think it really matters कि आपकी initiation कैसे होती है और कौन करता है. You know, जब आप furniture का part होते हो तो कोई सोचता ही नहीं है कि आप male हो कि female हो. You know, you are just part of the system. So, you know, I encourage even now my juniors or colleagues or women in practice to say that you must take that challenge like Asha ji, you know, who's led the way for girls like us who are following her footsteps, to say that, you know, these are small challenges. I mean, her challenge was far greater. So going to the tax department is, you know, is an easy thing to do. At least we know our subject, you know, we know what to do, we know what to say. So you have to take a challenge and you have to move ahead with it. Because as a woman, you're one of, you know, you stand out. So you should use that to your advantage of standing out and then, you know, hit a sixer.
Exactly. I mean, it's not the challenge, basically the opportunity hidden behind the challenge.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, this is the best part over there.
Absolutely.
So to the Asha ma'am, Surbhi ma'am, and I think Palvi ma'am, you all are an inspiration for others too. So 1 + 1 is not, you know, 2, it's 11 when we look at the another female. And I think this is the beauty of ICAI too, because here both there is no gender discrimination, and the perfect example is, I think, the beauty is of this event. You can see is so much prized by they are hosting an event for us, and they are seriously so happy when we are sharing our success story. So the next question.
In fact, Sonia ji, in the northern region, only in 2 branches and 1 chapter, these have been headed by the women chartered accountant, and all are present here. Asha ji, you yourself, and Smriti ji. And let me tell you that, as Pallavi also said, now there is no difference. Now we have 27% women chartered accountant, and the objective of this program is also to give a message that this profession is open for all. Now 40% of the new enrollment are for the female students. So this profession is open for all. Please join this profession. We need all members, male or female, doesn't matter at all. We need the contribution from all the members.
Absolutely. I would like to add, Sanjeev ji, to this a message, an additional message that, you know, joining CA is easy, but maintaining yourself when, you know, when you have a child or you get married or something happens or life throws you a curveball, I think that determination that Asha ji said, that is very important. And as leaders in the profession, whether it's Surbhi or Asha ji or myself, we would encourage the women CAs who want to at some point leave the profession. You know, the challenge is not the younger generation. The challenge is when you get an obstacle and you want to leave the profession. We want to, at least I want to motivate women to say, come back part-time, come back flexible hours, come back work from home. Now it's faceless, you know, it's digital world. Come back to the profession. You will feel more self-actualized. The profession will feel much happier. And we'll have, you know, this will create the change. Because I have so many friends and colleagues who, you know, maybe 5 years back left the profession or 3 years back left the profession. And they always tell me, यार कैसे आए वापस यार, तुम लोग तो आगे निकल गए यार, कैसे आए वापस? आओ वापस और आप देखोगे आप इतनी फास्ट कैच अप करोगे ना कि आपको लगेगा ही नहीं कभी कि आपने छोड़ा था.
My next question in the mind is this: how did you maintain the work-life balance? So it has been done. This is the question in the mind also, because most of the girls, they are having this doubt in the mind because they leave the practice just because it's difficult for them to maintain a balance between the both professional as well as the family.
Yes, to maintain a work-life balance is very, very important, because your life, your family, your personal life is equally important. और basically मेरी तो habit थी, I never take my work at home. घर में I am a housewife, I am a mother, I am a wife. I'm a daughter-in-law, and at office I'm totally professional. तो वो एक बहुत जरूरी है. और जब बच्चे छोटे हैं, I will advise कि I also join, but I used to give some little time to work. When your kids are small, you need to give time to them also. As they grow, you can catch up with your professional life more and more. But because their studies, their life is also very important. Even I took the decision to join the executive committee when my child settled down. दोनों बच्चे जॉब में आ गए उसके बाद ही I thought चलो I should give something to the profession also to encourage the women CS. We have also formed a women empowerment group in Hisar. More than 70 female CS are its member. Our motive is to just, जैसे we don't go to kitties and all, but in that way we discuss a professional topic और थोड़ा सा मिल लेते हैं तो like-minded persons मिलते हैं. It looks good. I have seen number of female CS कि they are sitting at home because of lack of opportunity in Hisar. So Latina has taught us the way to work from home. So I would even request Sanjeev ji to find out some ways so that we can give some work from home or something through ICAI. We can make some work out. So they can also utilize their hard-earned degree. Thank you.
I'll ask a question to Surbhi ma'am, or maybe anyone can answer that. Sometimes I feel that, you know, because maximum clients are males, because we have like in a smaller city, I'm in Srinagar, so we have very less female entrepreneurs. So how do you feel? I mean, do you feel that male have that, you know, little bit faith in, because unko lagta oh ye pata nahi kya kar payenge, you know, like that. Initially, I felt कि they had very less, you know, faith in female chartered accountants, जबकि I feel as a woman, मतलब I am more dedicated कि नहीं आज last day से पहले इनका काम खत्म करना है. But this thing I think we all face कि people have less trust in us than male chartered accountants.
Should I take a stab at that?
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Right. Smriti, you know, I felt that in my career as well. When I joined, so I joined. I'm from SRCC, from Sri Ram College of Commerce, and I was you know, picked up from college by Arthur Anderson. उस समय Arthur Anderson था in 1998, and I was picked up in audit, and there were 10 boys, and I was the only girl. And I remember जब मैं हमारे कस्तूरबा गांधी मार्ग में office था, so one of the senior partners told me, you're the only girl. I said, yeah. He says, you're going to have a tough time. So I told him, I said, no, I don't think I'll have a tough time. I'm always going to stand out. सारे लड़कियां, I'm either going to make it or I'm not going to make it. So I took it as a challenge that I'm the person who's being most noticed. सबको पता है 10-12 लड़के हैं, ये अकेली है, तो इसके ऊपर तो फेल होगी तो नजर लड़कियों के लिए धब्बा, सक्सेस होगी तो पता चलेगा girl can be very tough. And you know, itna tough life tha. We used to work 16-hour days. You know, it was very tough. But I realized as I grew in life that yes, the first reaction, especially in the past, was there were, as you entered a room, there were more men. You had to make your presence felt. And even today when you walk into a room, boardroom is mixed. There are men and women, maybe 60-40, maybe 70-30. But yes, earlier they were 90-10, you know. And you had to, the woman as a woman, you can't wait कि चलो अब मेरी बारी, मुझे वो बोलेंगे बोलने को. No. So as a strong woman, you have to find your way and speak. So सबसे पहले women should not think कि I'm a woman तो मुझे मेरे को 10 लोग बोलेंगे चलो अब आपकी बारी है. Find your way. If you know what the other person is wanting to hear, or you know आपको अपना subject पता है तो आप बोलो. अगर आप sense बोलोगे, अगर आप जो बोलोगे वैलिड है तो ट्रस्ट मी, whether it's a male there or a female there, they will listen to you. In fact, हमारे साथ तो उल्टा हुआ है. I work in Ernst & Young, and we actually had a situation where sometimes we got a lot of jobs where we were told that हमें EY को choose करना है over other big four because the gender ratio is great. You know, I am seeing women in the team. We are women buyers also, so it is really helping us. So I think that the moral of the story is, if you want to be taken seriously, if you want to be trusted, please make your presence felt. डरना नहीं है. Women by nature, अगर आप एक elevator में जाओगे, आपका boss अंदर आएगा, एक आदमी होगा, एक लड़की होगी, the boy will start talking. मैंने ये किया. The girl will stand on the corner and she will not want to talk. But that has to change. Now as women, we have to learn what is called the elevator speech. to sell ourselves, and that is absolutely fine. हमें पहले ये बोला जाता था अगर आप अपने बारे में ज्यादा बोलोगे तो आप arrogant हो कि you're not very womanlike. We have to leave all of that. See, I have 2 boys. I had my first child when I was still, an intern. I hadn't even done my CA. So I understand what Asha ji said. I said I'm getting married. दो मैं हिसार नहीं गई, मैं दिल्ली में ही रही आशा जी, पर मुझे ये डर हमेशा था कि if I don't, अगर मैं अपना CA clear नहीं करूंगी तो बाद में होगा नहीं. But trust me, all I said to myself is I have to go back to work. I have to continue working, and I have to tell everybody I'm a serious contender. And that has really helped me. And I'm sure Pallavi and Asha ji feel the same way, So if you'd like to add.
Absolutely. If I just go for Asha ji and I leave the last word for her. But I completely agree. You have to voice your voice. You have to believe that you have a voice. And, exactly, you have to be able to sell yourself. And if you know your subject, you will always be heard. I have, probably at Silby gone into meetings where, I'm the only person holding my income tax act with the client, and the client has this battery, or the other side has this battery of no aspersions, but, Big Four consultants, etc., who are all sitting and they're like, ye aapki side se bas ye hai. And my client is like, hanji bas ye hai. And then you walk out of the meeting and the other side feels that, okay, she said something which was of value. So yes, you have to believe in yourself and you have to make your presence felt and you have to know your subject. I mean, I think there's nothing more than putting in the hard work of knowing your subject. Maybe there are men who can get away with networking and saying things and making a joke, etc. I think there's a slight disadvantage, if you want to call it that we have to be serious. We have to know our subject. Otherwise, we won't be taken seriously. We can't crack the jokes that your male counterpart can crack and get away with. But yes, you have to believe in yourself, and absolutely behind you should be 100% that it's time to shine.
So thanks, Pallavi and Surbhi, for that answer. Asha ji raised a question that can there be more opportunities for the women chartered accountants, Surbhi, and then to Pallavi. My question is that within your firm, can you think of some flexi kind of arrangement, particularly for the women chartered accountant now with technology when work from home is happening? And when I'm saying flexi, I'm not saying only flexi hours. Can it be a half-day job, say, for example, or can it be a contract-based job? Do you do it? And if not, is it possible to do it? First Surbhi and then followed by Pallavi.
So Sanjeev, we surely do it. We have a very, very wide range of flexi benefits. So reduced working hours, half day, partly working from home, increased maternity benefits. All of these are formally there in the EY, flex policy. In fact, we have a lot of focus on getting women back into the workforce as well. I myself, so like I told you, I was a very young mother. There was nobody when I was, when I was a mom, so I didn't have anyone to talk to. And between my senior manager and director promotion, I chose to take a half day. Us samay policy bhi nahi thi, and I chose to take it. And for 2 years, I worked half day. They were half day working, and it was the best decision of my life, I feel, for my younger son. I have 2 boys, so very much we offer it in EY. So for all you girls there who have got married, who've got children, or who have other personal priorities, and you feel कि अभी मुझे workforce से जाना नहीं है, you must join, because it's like Pallavi was talking. Don't, or Asha saying, don't ever leave your career. When I went through a lot of difficulty, and I said, no, I'm not going to leave my career. I take a flex time opportunity so that मुझे जब भी flex से full time आना होगा, मेरे पास वो option है. I don't have to go back and start looking for a job, etc. So we very much offer it in EY. So for all of you girls who want to join EY, there is a flex time and a brilliant flex time policy.
It's a wonderful message, Surbhi ji.
Thank you, Asha.
This platform, most of the village have come to know about this.
So likewise, Sanjeev ji, Asha ji, Surbhi, at our firm also, we started this quite a few years ago, where one of our partners wanted flexible working hours, etc. So we also do it. Again, like EY, we offer all the options. You can work from home, you can do reduced timings, you can do half days, you can do alternate days, you can do contractual where, or you can do even client-based. We sort of give you a client and then that client is your responsibility along with the team. And then you just have to focus on that one client. You don't have to do the day-to-day, etc. And then that client knows that, you're reachable on particular days and hours. So yes, all the options are possible. And, we don't have the rigors that maybe Big Four have in terms of policy. We're a more flexible firm where we sort of make the policy on the go. Even after maternity, a lot of our girls want to work for 1 year from work from home, especially in the pandemic this time. I've had a child in the pandemic. So my son is now 1 year old and my daughter is 4. So I've worked from home for 6 months. I have other girls who are still working from home at senior positions. So it's no longer a taboo. If you're good at your job, I think all the options are open.
That's great, Pallavi. And I can tell you that a lot of participants who are watching it, and it is now 1,000+ participants watching it live, must be very relieved. And Asha ji, as she mentioned, that personally they will feel very relaxed that now these kind of options are also available. Sonia ji, please take up the next set of questions.
My question to you all, anybody can answer from the 3 expert panelists. Any advice that you may like to give to the young female CAs?
Maybe Asha ji, you should start.
Okay, I would say जैसे अभी तो सभी को opportunities भी पता चल रही है through Surbi ma'am, through Pallavi ma'am, and maybe in other big fours also. So you should never stop your practice. Join it for at least half day or something, but never leave it, because you go backwards. If you leave for 2 years, 3 years, you just go backwards and फिर job ढूंढना बहुत मुश्किल है. So when you have done CA, after so much of hard work and dedication, so you must remain in practice. और उसमें मेरे ख्याल से कोई दिक्कत भी नहीं, मुश्किल नहीं होनी चाहिए. You should always be in touch. और मेरा मैसेज तो सभी females को ये है. In fact, if you are a CA, well and good. Though you are not a CA, you should do something at least, so that you are financially independent. You are doing some creative. You are contributing to the country, something like that. और CA करने के बाद तो nobody should sit at home. I have seen number of female CAs and I am happy कि अभी चलो through this program they would have come to know if there are number of opportunities for part-timers also. Over to you.
So the young females have a dilemma whether to go in the practice, because in the they know that within a couple of years they are going to get married, and maybe they may be going to the another state or another country too. So any advice to the young CAs specifically whether they go into the practice or not? Because normally they prefer to do job. The simple reason 60 to 70% go for the job one. The reason is because in the practice they don't know where they are going to be married in a couple of years. So whole setup will be there.
I can talk about the job, and maybe Pallavi should talk about the practice, because I've always been in a job. So Pallavi, I don't really know the practice. I'll be very honest with you. A person of, and I'm telling you from the heart, and I'm pretty sure Pallavi and Asha ji will agree, and you will too. When a person wants to work, when a woman wants to work, when a woman wants to do well, when a woman wants to be financially independent, she will find a way. When younger girls come to me and they talk to me, and how did you do it? How did you have kids so early? What did you do? Didn't you have a tough time? I had a very tough time. Okay. I used to sometimes cry also. I sometimes used to say, my children are not meeting me. I'm a bad mother. I've had all this crap. Okay. But I always knew one thing. I want to work. I love my financial independence, and I will make the sacrifice. It's very easy to be just a housewife. It's very easy to be just a professional. Why is it tough for women? Because they want to be good mummies. They want to be good wives. They want to be good sisters. They want to be good parents. And they also want to really do well at their job. That is, and if you really want to, you'll find a way. So, agar job ho ya practice ho, where you get married, many girls get married later. I mean, I was married like really young. Now I wonder, and I had a supportive family.
At what age?
I was 23, ma'am.
What
So I was
also 23. I was also 23.
Yeah, so I find it too young even now. But you know, the point is, if you today, if you want to do well, you will find a way. You will even find a way to set up a practice. I have a friend, okay, she is a CA from India. She got married in the US. Usne US mein practice set up ki. She did her CPA. Now she has a firm. She does both India work because she's a chartered accountant. You know, she's done all her forex regulation checks and all that, and she does. And as a CPA, she also does US work. So sometimes, you know, when there are some clients who don't want to be associated with EY because of the cost pressures or they are too small, I very often tell her, would you like to take up this smaller client? And it works very well. So because usko will thi, usne kaha, meko to kaam karna hai, come what may. So that's the attitude. If the attitude is there, job, practice, newsreader ban jao, jo karo, you will find a way out. Trust me. Pallavi, what do you think?
So I completely agree with you. In fact, I think the younger girls should do practice because the experience that you get in doing your own practice is invaluable. You know, HR bhi aap ho, admin bhi aap ho, accountant bhi aap ho, CA bhi aap hi ho, sab kuch aap hi ho. So, you know, I mean, again, going to my grandfather, he said, "Pehle hamare store mein aake hamari filing सीखो." So after class 10, I came to office और एक computer दे दिया उन्होंने मुझे और बोला कि अब सारी फाइलें रजिस्टर से कंप्यूटर पे चढ़ाओ. उस टाइम इतनी इरिटेशन लगती है कि अब ये काम रह गया है कि छुट्टियों में बैठ के कंप्यूटर पे चढ़ाओ. बट टुडे अगर रिकॉर्ड कीपर नहीं है तो भी मैं जाके फाइल निकाल सकती हूँ, फोटोकॉपियर नहीं है तो भी मैं कर सकती हूँ. सो यू नो, young girls should do their own practice. छोड़ो, जब शादी होगी तब क्या होगा किसने देखा है यार. पैंडेमिक में तो ये नहीं पता कि जिंदा रहेंगे कि नहीं.
Exactly.
So live for today. If today you want to practice, do your practice. When you get married, what will happen, how your life will change, we'll deal with it then. Live the opportunity you have today. So practice will give you so much exposure, so much experience, so much confidence that tomorrow, even if you have to do a job, you'll be so confident that you'll excel in that also. So if practice is what you want to do it.
And I think, you know, Sonia, I have one more thing that I would like to, because of this pandemic. So I do a lot of work around succession planning and all in EY also. And one of the things I started realizing in the, you know, in the last year was that women, even if they are earning their own money, they're not very good at managing their own money. They leave it to their partners. My children say husband nahi bolna, partner bolna. The new age, you can't say that, you know. So my son is 20, so he says you're supposed to say it like this, mummy. So so I think women first, you earn the money. Please be financially savvy. कौन से म्यूचुअल फंड करने हैं, कितना पैसा एलोकेट करना है. Why do you leave it to someone else? Because if, you know, I've had friends who've lost their husband, they're like, I don't know anything. And it is a shocker. Padhi likhi ladkiyan who didn't know where the husband invested, what was happening. Please know what is happening with your money. Have you made a will? Has your husband made a will? Do you know what happens if there is no will? How much problem can be created? You know, all of these things are very important. So the woman, I think the question should move away from should a woman work or not. If you want financial independence, if you want that kind of respect, you have to work. Please don't ever leave your job. You can do part-time, you can come back. Sometimes you have to leave if you don't have a support system. Pallavi said, come back. So what if your contemporary person is 3 years senior to you, so what? I mean, that's not the end of life. You still are working and you'll catch up. But you should know finances. Please do not make the mistake of not knowing मेरा पैसा कहाँ है, what am I supposed to do, मैंने retirement के लिए कितना जोड़ा, मेरे बच्चों की education के लिए कितना जुड़ना चाहिए. You cannot leave it to the husband or the man. And 90% you will realize that when you start planning finances, women are much better at financial planning. It's a known fact all over the world. If I see my father and mother, my mother never worked. But my mother from her pocket money actually built a property and she tells me, look, your dad couldn't do it, I could do it. And it's a fact. He said, my property. Why? I'm like, Mom, you never worked a day in your life. She said, but I was smart enough to know how to manage money. And if you're my daughters, we are two of us and a brother. My sister is a doctor, my brother is an MBA. She said, if you're my children, you will know how to manage. And we learned. So that's the advice I will give to every woman. You should know how to earn the money. You should know how to keep the money. You should know how to grow the money. Okay.
Buying a property out of the pocket money should be amazing.
And I'm not joking. Sanjeev ji, I am not joking.
Must be.
Bada motivation hai. वो बिल्कुल नाम में ली थी, कोई इधर उधर नहीं ली थी.
That's great.
I think it is maximum the girls who take out their monies from the hidden lockers. He has to exchange that and deposit in the bank. At that moment, also 50% of the saving they have been disclosed at that moment. And rightly said, sincerity, passion, and determination, they are God gift from to the females one. So earlier, as ma'am said, he doubted. I think females are much preferred than male in the offices. Not by female, but the male too. Because the sincerity, if you want to get anything to be done, they always give it to the female staff.
Yes, ma'am. For that matter, I remember that when I was in my office as an article in Amritsar, and I had like 2 boys, and we were 3 articles. And my sir used to always say कि ये तो clear कर जाएगी, तुम दोनों का मुझे पता नहीं है. I mean, because the dedication which females have, this is what I feel, doesn't, I mean, if I don't know, sir must be knowing कि pass outs कितनी लड़कियां होती हैं और कितने लड़के, but
more females pass out. That's why 3 years ago the ratio was 21% to 79%. Now it is 27% to 73%.
Very good.
Things are changing every year.
Yes.
And I can tell you, like Surabhi, I'm also from Shri Ram College of Commerce, 1994 batch, and nowadays it's almost 80% female and 20% boys. It's not possible probably for them to score 98 or 99%, which is the cutoff in Shri Ram College of Commerce. Exceptions are always there, but I'm seeing that now the balance is moving. So whatever imbalances were there, now they are being corrected. So that's why I said we need to utilize this 27% women chartered accountant which we have available in the profession, because only 50% of them are in jobs. So rest 50% who are in practice, they may not be in active practice. We must find ways and means to constructively engage them. That's very, very important. And in the various activities of the institute, whether it's a peer reviewer or a technical reviewer of the financial reporting review board, or the tax audit reviewer, or the examiners. And I also tell you that we have a number of, in fact, in the accounting standard board, except for one person, our technical director, all are women chartered accountant. Similarly, in the sustainability board also, same is the position. So now actually there is no difference, and it's all a matter of your competence and skills. I really don't see a difference. So Nidhi, over to you for the
Ma'am has also joined, I think. Ma'am, there's one more, it is open to all the panelists. So how do you feel your, like the ones who are more in practice? So how do you feel, does your staff feel as, I mean, under a female boss than a male boss? I mean, are they comfortable, or they are a little uncomfortable, or? Ma'am, can you please unmute?
Pallavi, starting with the Pallavi ma'am, because she's in the picture.
Okay, so I think that the staff is much happier with the female boss. Like, I'll tell you, one of the boys in my team, 4 years ago, he had his first child. And when he applied for 1 day leave, and he wrote on that saying, I'm going to have a child. So I called him and I said, you applied for 1 day leave you're going to have a child. He said, yes, ma'am. I said, you take 2 weeks off, and we're going to call this paternity leave, and you take 2 weeks off. So how much fun the rest of the people in the team made for him, you can't imagine. But today he's still with me. He's, after 2 children, he has had 2 children. Now more and more boys want paternity leave. I think you become more empathetic as a female boss. You ask less questions of your, your female juniors. Somebody wants to take a leave for a day. It's no longer like, "Arey, kyun chahiye chutti?" "Arey yaar, usko chutti chahiye." It's okay. Her husband may be sick. Her child may be sick. She may just be exhausted. There may be just too much work at home. It's okay. So I've, as a rule, now stopped asking people chutti kyun chahiye. So they just have to come, feel happy, and say, "Ma'am, I need chutti." You have to be happy. It can't be like, how we used to be, कि sir, please sir, आधे दिन की sir, please sir, बस ये काम है sir. You know, those days are over. You have to feel happy coming to work. If you feel happy coming to work, you should feel happy taking a day off. You know, I have so many people in my team who say, "Ma'am, मौसम बहुत अच्छा है, एक दिन छुट्टी दे दो." I'm like, please take it. You know, so you feel so much more empathetic. You know, and no longer do they have to think, if I'm sitting in office, they have to sit in office. No, if you're done, please leave. So I think they're really happy with a female boss, but you'll have to ask them someday.
Please said, ma'am, being empathetic, as you said, or an emotional fool. Sometimes females are named as an emotional fool, but I think being an emotional one is not our weakness, but our strength.
Absolutely.
It's our strength that we understand the feelings of another person, either of a male or a female staff. We understand the feelings of others. So
absolutely.
So
there's a very famous quote by Mrs. Murthy. And she said when she took over the Infosys CSR initiative, it made her cynical over time because for every 10 applications she got, only 2 were real. But she says that in my effort to do good, at least 2 were real. You know, so look at that I could at least help 2 people out of those 10. So if you continue to do good, you will eventually help a person who really needs it.
Subhi ma'am, you want to add on this?
I think women bosses are definitely more understanding. They are also tougher, huh? Women always want perfection. They want things done at the right time, but women are very structured. So they will not do any, yahan wahan ki deadlines. They'll say, this is the job, this is the deadline, this is the expectation. Would you like to talk about it? Would you like to discuss what I need from you? And they'll message you and they'll tell you, it's due in an hour. So you'll see that a woman is more demanding, but she's more methodical. Why? Because that's the way she's trained, and because she also wants to manage her own personal life. तो वो चाहेगी वो अपना personal life भी ठीक से manage करे, because one child maybe has a board exam, or one has a 1-year-old who wants to be with mommy. So she will want you to have your time and she will want her to have a time. And then that's why it's a win-win, because men will generally say, oh, I have someone else looking after the child, so I don't care, raat ko 2 baje bhej do. So you will see with a woman, your work-life balance is much better as well with a woman boss, which is why people like working with women, even though they are more perfectionists. So not that men are not good bosses, but I just feel women are just so able to manage everything so well. We know we have to do 8 things: be a mother, be a daughter, be a professional. So our minds break up into half and we can still manage. So that's, I think, the beauty of
perfect, ma'am. Actually, we never give up. So it's always hard to beat a person who never give up. So the tendency in women is that once everybody said it is to be done, then we take it on. Yes, it should be done, and we will do it.
Even does multitasking, जो women कर सकती हैं, multitasking boys नहीं कर सकते हैं. Multitasking women.
आशा जी ऐसा नहीं है. let's not make it one-sided. It is okay to have a balance, but let us not take it to the other extreme as well. No, I'm just joking.
बोल दिया था यहाँ पे जेंडर बायसनेस नहीं है. अभी दोनों एक का टैलेंट अगर दूसरे साथ में होगा ना, तो ऑप्टिमम यूटिलाइज.
Yes. And
combination.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. And I've also seen Sonia ji, the way she has organized programs in the Jalandhar branch. She has been taking the initiative, and last year Asha ji, when she was the immediate chairperson, they have really led from the front. Sonia ji, we can have one last set of questions, and I would like to welcome CA Rohini Agarwal ji, also our speaker for the GST, and her journey has also been remarkable. And we thought, since she's specializing in GST, let us take the benefit of her knowledge and give her a full session on GST. So Sonia ji and Smriti, we can take a last set of questions, one question each, to Asha ji, Surabhi and Pallavi ji, before we hand it over to Rohini ji.
Okay, ma'am. So first one to Asha, ma'am. Ma'am, how do you feel on becoming the chairperson of, Hisar branch?
It was just challenging, and कभी कोई contest ही नहीं किया था. किसी ने just thought कि चलो let's do this also. All of us had thought of contesting, और वही 2 जन हम लोग ने contest किया था, then I won and become the chairperson also. So I was the first lady to become the chairperson, and it was a challenge before me. कि ऐसा ना हो कि एक female वो CI थी, she didn't do anything. So I didn't want a black spot on ladies. So for that I had to do something extra. लेकिन I'm glad कि हम लोगों ने newsletters भी started it for the first time, and it was a real success. Newsletters, then webinars, we did a lot of things, and everyone appreciates it still now. कि ma'am, your tenure was. तो बस यही है कि whatever women do, they do it with dedication. The same is you with Sonia ma'am. We all are happy to see you organizing all the events so successfully. Thank you so much.
Can I ask one question to Pallavi ma'am? What difference you feel there is in running a family firm and setting up an independent practice of your own?
So I can't really say because I never set up an independent practice of my own. But I can tell you that, you know, when I joined the firm, we were much smaller. And now I've been with the firm for 20 years, so it's really grown. So now we have, you know, non-family partners, we have senior people in leadership. So we are now just 3 people left in the family out of 150, you know, so it's touch would become more and more professional, but we've tried to sort of retain the ethos of the family culture, you know, so it becomes a home away from home for everybody. You know, you become a support system for each other, whether male, whether female. So it retains the family environment, yet it becomes a professional organization where you're doing good work. So I think that you should look at your firm like a, you know, like a second family, and not look at it like a, you know, that you're doing something which is just an extension. That's how I think it should be looked at.
Thank you so much.
Last question to Savi ma'am. Savi ma'am, everybody know that family support is, getting a family support is a cherry on the top, basically. But what's the role? How much important is a family support? What's your say on that?
I think when your children are growing up, especially, frankly, when you are just husband-wife, I think you can pretty much manage with, you know, in India, you have a lot of help. But when you have children, you know, you do need maybe your in-laws or your own parents to really step in. So my parents really stepped in. Like I said, I used to travel when my kids were little. So all I used to do is tell my mother or my mother-in-law, mostly my parents, to say, please come in and look after the kids. And they would come in. So yes, family support is very, very important. You have to find that. Sometimes people use a system of domestic help plus family, plus sometimes now crutches as well. So you have to see what works best for you as an individual. But family, it doesn't mean that if you don't live with your in-laws, you can't work, because they are very good crutches. They're very good. You know, you have good domestic help. Sometimes husband and wife take turns at you know, working from home. So if like I said, if you and your husband are also able to manage, where both of you want to jointly participate in bringing up the children and working, it will happen. But if a woman is told work and the children and the house is completely your responsibility, that's where it goes wrong. But I think generations of today, especially, like I said, I have a 20-year-old. So every day I tell him one thing: respect women. You're likely to have a woman boss. She's going to be very tough on you. So, you know, cooking, boys and girls should do. Mummy can't cook. You have to pick up your own clothes. You know, ye ad tha up, and I'll close with this, where a woman, a mother calls, mother is talking to her daughter, and the daughter says, I'm quitting work because my husband's job is very demanding. So the mother says to the daughter कि क्यों तुम quit कर रही हो, वो अपना काम खुद नहीं कर सकता जो तुम इतना घर का काम कर रही हो. So she says नहीं, उसकी मदर ने नहीं सिखाया कि घर का काम खुद करना है. और वो माँ क्या कर रही थी, अपने बेटे के कपड़े डाल रही थी. And she said she suddenly takes the basket and hands it over to the son and says, the son says, मम्मी आप ये क्या कर रहे हो, मुझसे काम करा रहे हो? तो कहती हाँ, मैं अपनी गलती सुधार रही हूँ. ये बहुत अच्छा ad आया था. And so मैं भी अपने बच्चे को मैं कभी उनका काम नहीं करती. मैं उनको यही बोलती हूँ, खुद करना है, जॉइंटली करना है, वुमन और मैन में कोई फर्क नहीं होता. ये एटीट्यूड होगा तो कम, you will rely less and less on the joint family, because India में nuclear family, because husband wife will realize दोनों को मिलके करना है. So that's the mantra of today कि जितना मिलता है support ले लो, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि अगर जॉइंट फैमिली नहीं है देखिए तो काम नहीं करना, ये सब एक्सक्यूजेस हैं. If you want to work, you will find a way. That is what my rule is in life.
Absolutely.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Asha ji. Yeah, you wanted to add, Asha
I
ji?
wanted to say, I just wanted to add कि मुझे भी 2 बेटे हैं, and recently my eldest son got married to a CA woman. She is working in one of the big fours. तो वही मैंने तो यही कहा कि 2 बेटे थे, एक बेटी मिल गई. तो I just treat her like a daughter. Naturally, she has also worked late hours जो है, तो we should consider. If we are considered, then it's okay. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. She is also working, and then only everything goes well.
Yeah.
So every mother, be the lady, whatever, they should also treat daughter-in-laws also like.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Asha ji, Surbhi, Pallavi. With this, we come to the close of the first session with a clear message that men and women are equal. And first of all, as employer, if it is possible for us, we must try and create opportunities for the women to do part-time work also, because it may be possible that from this session, taking inspiration, many of our women members would like to work and maybe to start with part-time work. So my request to Surbhi, Pallavi, Asha ji, Sonia ji, Rohini ji, Smriti ji, that wherever possible, give opportunities to them for a work from home, for a part-time working. And I can tell you, you will be flooded with the number of requests after this webinar, because this was attended by more than 1,000 chartered accountants. And obviously, as the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, there is absolutely no discrimination, whether as a student or as a member. Rather, it's possible that there may be more opportunities available within ICAI, outside ICAI, for the chartered accountants, women members. It is on us to make the best use of it. From the Committee for Member in Practice or from any other committee of the Institute, we try and give equal opportunities to both men and women chartered accountants. So thank you so much for joining us this evening on this panel, and looking forward to have you sometime again in some other panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with this, now we move on to the second segment of our session, of our today's webinar, which is on the various dimensions of GST practice. Before I hand it over to Sonia and Gurleen ji, I would like to give a brief introduction of Rohini Agarwal ji. Rohini ji is a chartered accountant, cost and management accountant, as well as a law graduate. With over 3 decades of academic and industry experience, she has written various books on GST, service tax and corporate laws. She's been a member of the 5th Finance Commission of the state of Haryana and a special invitee to the Indirect Tax Committee of the ICAI. She assisted World Bank in completing their prestigious Doing Business project relating to indirect taxes in India. And presently, she is working as a principal consultant with ARX Business Advisors LLP. So while requesting Sonia ji and Smriti ji to take this session forward, I would also be requesting Rohini ji that when you start your deliberation, maybe if you want to add something on our today's first panel theme on the success story of the women chartered accountant, because your career has also been very successful. Please feel free to add your perspective as well. Sonia ji, over to you for this session on the various dimensions of GST.
Thank you. So, Rohini ma'am, you want to add something, or let's start with the GST deliberation?
Just 1 or 2 lines, since it's so wonderful to be surrounded by so many successful women sharing their stories, that too from my own profession. So what I feel, it was so good that we are so much full of pride for being a woman and being in CA practice. Just I would like to balance it out somewhere, where we do have some negative aspects also of being a profession and being in this, being a woman. And particularly, I would like to share my experience, because when I go across India, I find that in certain cities, the attitude of men or attitude of industry towards women practitioner is completely different. It takes so much of effort to put yourself forth, and you always, every time you have to prove yourself. Although the times have changed, it's been 30 years that I have done my CA. So definitely, over the period of time, the society has changed, attitudes have changed, but still, we need to go very, very far. Abhi bhi. So aisa nahi hai, it's not all cake. When you set up your practice singly as a woman, as I have done, I think the challenges are much more. So, and particularly attitude, because attitude has to change in the society. Women can't do anything, but what women can do, I think the knowledge is power. I would say the only line which is my motto. So, if you have knowledge, then even if the other person is not giving attention to you first, eventually he will have to understand that you can do the work. Because basically, what we seek as a practitioner, we seek work, and work needs confidence. Confidence from whom? From the client. Because initially what used to happen, even if my junior is sitting with me, the client would look towards the junior while talking. He will not, like, even for nodding, he will not look at me. He will look towards the junior because he feel more comfortable he being a man. So these kind of things are there still. But yes, again, with confidence and knowledge, we can overpower that. And as far as empathize karna or acha manage karna is concerned, yes, I would say our soft side is our boon and a bane also, because it is not that like we at times we empathize too much. Maybe that was not required. That's what I feel at times. We need to balance it out, I would say, because as you said rightly, you use the word emotional fools also. So at times you feel, maybe you get to know after such a long time that you've been emotional fool throughout. So I think, yeah, some good, some bads, but it's wonderful being a chartered accountant. So I think this is all I would like to say.
Thank you so much, Rohini ji, for this perspective. And we would now request you to kindly start your deliberation on today's topic. Thank you so much.
Sure. So I think अभी तो मैंने कुछ ग्रीट नहीं किया था. I just started giving my views. So आप सभी को मेरा बहुत ही प्रेम और सम्मान भरा नमस्कार. And it's a complete fun to talk on GST before you, because today we will not be talking about two technical things. We will try to see GST from a completely different perspective. Maybe how do we relate GST with our life, and how to look at different dimensions of GST practice. Because usually when we talk about GST practice, what comes to our mind? We think that we have to file returns, we have to make invoices, we should know how to make an e-way bill. So if we know all that, we should know about how to make credit notes, debit notes, in what situations. And with these 3, 4, 5 things knowing, we think that we have become GST practitioner and we are doing justice to the subject. This is the usual way of looking at GST. So the objective of today's talk is to give a perspective that this is only a very small part of the GST practice, and there could be many more dimensions. In fact, there are many more dimensions of GST which will make a value addition to the business of the client. So why and how a tax practitioner can make difference to the client's commercials. That is how we need to look at, because every indirect tax can do it, but GST aane ka ek fayda ye hua hai ki now everybody has become aware of this tax. Earlier, even service tax, excise, VAT, so many taxes were there, but this kind of awareness was not there. Now even the industry recognizes this, so we can contribute more. So first, I will start with telling that how pervasive GST is. That is a very simple thing, and how process-oriented GST is. 2 things I want to tell with few examples. Suppose we get up in the morning and we start looking at our life. What do? Suppose we buy milk in the morning. When we buy milk, we see, okay, this milk, we don't have GST. Why? Because there was an exemption. So what the price which we pay may be lesser. Had GST been there, it would have been costlier. But when we buy bread, we are paying little more because GST is applicable on the bread. So from the very first thing in the morning, now if you start looking your life, how it dwells upon in the day, you will find the impact of GST in different dimensions. Then you go to drop your child to the school bus. Now, suppose that school bus is coming from the school. School has sent the bus and in which your child is going. You are paying lesser in terms of tax cost because GST is not applicable there, because there is a specific exemption to the school. If the school will hire a chartered bus for the children, there is no GST. But suppose you go and you hire a private cab to send your child to the school, you are paying GST, you are paying higher. Suppose आप गोलगप्पे खा रहे हैं सड़क पर. So simple, so natural, and we all can relate with this. So when you are eating golgappas on the road from a ready, you may be paying lesser, because he is not charging GST from you. But when the same golgappa, you go to the restaurant and you eat, that is costlier. Why? Because you are paying GST on that. So that means golgappa is not exempt from GST. But what is happening? That ready wala might not be having a turnover of rupees 20 lakh in a year. So he is not liable to pay GST because he is not supposed to get registered. So the thing to which I want to attract your attention is, see, when I talk about a bus, school bus, or when I talk about a golgappa thing, in both the cases, in two alternate situations, in one case there is a GST, in other case there is no GST. But the reasons are different. In one case, there was an exemption, specific exemption. In the other case, there was no exemption to the golgappa of Rediwala, but he was not reaching the threshold. And there is a good possibility he could have reached to threshold also, but that is a different story. We are just presuming that he is not that rich or his turnover is not that much. So the point again, now let us go a little further. Suppose you have to go to hospital, somebody fall ill, and when the doctor gives a prescription to you, he gives you medicines along with. He sees you, he checks you, and while coming back, he gives you medicine and he charges a composite amount for the medicines as well as prescription. In that case, doctor will not charge you GST because the classification will change. It is healthcare service which is being provided on which GST is exempt. But suppose doctor simply writes a prescription, you go and you buy medicines from the market, you are paying GST there because that's how the structure of the tax is. So now what we want to see from these examples, one, that GST is all pervasive in every small transaction which we do from morning to night. There is an involvement of GST, just we need eyes to see that. So if this is about our personal life, see, think about the businesses. Every small action of a business will be involving GST at one place or the other. This is one. And second thing, the processes are important. The processes, even the selection of suppliers is important. The manner of buying the goods are important, goods or services, whether you are buying it compositely or whether you are buying it in a different way. So every small component of your transaction, whatever it is, will impact the applicability of GST in one manner or the other. Now, having seen this, let us now come to the dimensions that, okay, this is a fact. So what should I do, in my practice? One, the very first thing is transaction structuring, because we have been talking about the transaction. What is transaction?
Hello.
Apologies for the interruption. So, Renu,
I think there was some connection error, ma'am. There is a technical error. Apologies for the same. Now, Rohini ma'am, kindly start.
Okay. Okay, so we were talking about the transaction structuring. So transaction structuring is a very, very important aspect, which I think few people have seen it, because that was to be seen at the time of implementation of GST. When we say transaction structuring, what does it really mean? It means that when you are entering into any transaction, business transaction, what happens? There is a starting point of that transaction and there is an end point of that transaction. And what is the starting point? Suppose you are a manufacturer. You are buying certain goods or services, and you may be importing certain goods or services, and you may also be indigenously procuring. So there is one transaction where you are purchasing, then the other transaction where you are processing, then the third transaction when you are supplying your goods or services. Maybe in between you are sending your goods to a depot. So there is a complete process chain or supply chain, I would say, procurement and supply chain for a given transaction. अब उसके अंदर क्या है कि given the GST law, I have to align my transaction with the GST law. Given the GST law, we know that, if we are having the business places within one state, I can take a single registration. They all can fall within the single registration. But if I am in a different state, then I have to take another GST number. I am a separate GST entity, totally. And there, even the services or the goods which I will be sending, that will be considered as a deemed supply. So the first decision which I have to take while doing the transaction structuring is how to locate or how to place my business units or for the purpose of registration, कि so that मेरा जो tax impact है वो मेरे ऊपर rationalize हो जाए. ऐसा नहीं हो कि tax impact ज्यादा हो, because at times it happens like हमें मालूम है कि place of supply immovable property के case में is the place of immovable property. So many times it happens that my work is going on, मेरा project work चल रहा है एक state में, मेरा office नहीं है वहाँ पर, और मेरे को वहाँ पर बहुत सारा credit block हो जाता है because I am bound to receive the goods or services at that particular location because of place of supply. So मेरा जो transaction structuring है, that will give me a way out, because usually I have seen people talking hours and hours on that my credit got stuck because of this reason. But the solution is there in the law itself. What we have to do, we have to see whether I should make an IST. If I make an ISD here, or whether I should involve a structure in between, whether I should have appoint somebody in between to provide me services and procuring the things there at that site. So what I am trying to say that you can find solutions if you look at how to structure my transaction, maybe by deciding the locations. If that is not feasible, because everything is not commercially feasible, even if it may sound good from the perspective of the taxation, but then how to create tax structures and how to create the billing structures, how to get into the documentation. So if all these things we can actually structure, I would say that we can optimize our tax cost. And then this is actually a very, very important area. तो जब भी हम जाते हैं रिव्यू करने कहीं पर भी जीएसटी का, GST review is again another dimension of the practice, I would say, even if the audit is not required by the government now. अभी तो latest notification आ गए हैं, but एक जो product chartered accountants can always offer to their clients is at least a yearly review of the GST to their client, because no matter what we do, you will find 99%, I would say 99% of the assessees, maybe because the law is not also getting into a very structured way, law is not evolving in a structured way. कभी सॉफ्टवेयर में प्रॉब्लम होता है, इस कारण कुछ नहीं हो पाता है, कभी कहीं पर और प्रॉब्लम होता है. तो जब आप उसके साल भर के अकाउंट्स देखते हैं, तो डिस्पाइट डूइंग द वर्क प्रॉपरली in the entire year, you will still find certain gaps which are need to be filled. So that review is a very, very significant area, which is a must. And if you can get into a quarterly review, that is the best option. But if quarterly review is not done, then we can come down to yearly review. और जो उसमें एक हमारा स्टैंडर्ड तरीका है ना ऑडिट करने का, I think we need to evolve from there. Because जो हम, क्योंकि जब हम स्टैंडर्ड ऑडिट करते हैं, दैट इज मोर लाइक अ पोस्टमार्टम, एंड जो है गलत वो गलत है और जो सही है वो सही है. That kind of approach is not going to work here, because we need to actually handhold the client. We need to give the solutions, because the mistake was not his when things went wrong. I mean, not all mistakes. I will not say that the client does not commit mistake, but yes, I would say review is a very, very important dimension of the practice. We have talked about transaction structuring, और उसमें भी स्ट्रक्चरिंग में जब मैं बात करूंगी तो एक और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एरिया है, दैट इज शुड आई मेक माय ट्रांजैक्शन ए कंपोजिट ट्रांजैक्शन, और शुड आई मेक माय ट्रांजैक्शन a separate transaction or a mixed supply transaction. That can actually give you an edge for the vis-a-vis the GST rate which is applicable on my supplies. Or suppose I take an example of free gifts, जिसके अंदर हमारा क्रेडिट ब्लॉक हो जाता है. उसमें क्या होता है कि when I am selling suppose 1-on-1 free, I know there was a talk of town, it was a lot of discussion. I mean, it was there was a lot of hue and cry on this, because initially what was happening, we know that our credit gets we are not supposed to get the credit if we are giving some supply free. And when you are saying that I am selling a shirt for ₹100, and if you buy one shirt for ₹100 and I give you another shirt free, then the input tax credit on this free supply of shirt becomes questionable from the perspective of the blocked credit. So for that, the government has come out with a circular now at a later, I mean, I think 2018 में ही आ गया था वो circular. But there is a solution which is lying there, but we must know that to design or structure the transaction of our client, because they said that this supply can be either composite or mixed, depending upon, of course, the conditions which we are not getting into detail. So today the position is that if I am selling 1-on-1 free, there is, I mean, I can actually save my input tax credit if I properly word it. Or suppose even in, sorry, should I continue? Yeah. Even in the past situation, suppose if I write for my product that I am giving you 2 products in the price of 1, then it is not a free situation. Yeah, you are selling 2 shirts for ₹100 rather than 1 shirt for ₹100. In that case, you are not struck with that free thing. But when you are saying that I'm giving you 1 shirt free, if you buy 1 shirt, then you are actually caught in the trap. Of course, there is a way out which has been given by the circular. But what I'm trying to say here is that just by understanding the process of the transaction, just by using some creativity, where we are not going beyond the law, in fact, but we are just trying to plan the things out, we can actually structure the transaction as per the which are the most tax cost effective. This is one. Secondly, a very, very important aspect of our practice is agreement vetting from indirect tax perspective. And I think this is one of the most important things. क्योंकि क्या है कि जब हम इनकम टैक्स करते हैं या ट्रेडिशनल कन्वेंशनल ऑडिट करते हैं, अगेन transactions have already happened and now we are examining and we are giving the results. In our case, since we know, as I have discussed this one-on-one free thing, you know that once the agreement is drafted, your words are freezed, your intents are freezed, your classifications are freezed. Now, so many times we are not able to plan out anything because my agreement is saying something in certain manner. and you just, in fact, it is beyond comprehension that how the proper drafting of agreement or writing a single liner in your agreement at the time of drafting could have saved you crores of rupees. I will give you a very simple example, a common transaction, land development agreement. Land development agreement में क्या होता है कि there is a land, you buy some plot of land which are raw, you develop, you just cut those pieces of land, you develop it into colony, you develop into infrastructure, you make roads, you make pillars, you make, you get the electricity installed in that area, and then you sell the developed plots to the people, to the customers, and who book those plots in advance with you. तो अब क्या है, ये एक डिस्प्यूटेड ट्रांजेक्शन है, पूरा सर्विस टैक्स के टाइम से चला आ रहा है, और वो डिस्प्यूट क्या है ट्रांजेक्शन में कि द डेवलपर सेज कि इसके ऊपर टैक्स नहीं लगेगा बिकॉज इट इज सेल ऑफ लैंड, अल्टीमेटली आई एम सेलिंग द प्लॉट ओनली व्हिच इज डेवलप्ड, एंड द गवर्नमेंट सेज कि ये तो ठीक है लेकिन ये डेवलप्ड प्लॉट है, यू हैव डन द सर्विस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट ऑन दीज प्लॉट्स, सो इसके ऊपर पूरी वैल्यू के ऊपर टैक्स लगेगा व्हिच इज लैंड प्लस द डेवलपमेंट कॉस्ट. या तो यानी अब जो लड़ाई है, दैट इज बोथ द पार्टीज आर एक्चुअली व्हाट दे आर डूइंग. गवर्नमेंट इज सेइंग दैट इट इज नॉट सेल ऑफ ओनली लैंड. Now, just look at this transaction. Suppose while drafting the agreement, we can differentiate between the cost of land and the cost of development. Or rather, I would say, price we are charging to the customer for the land and price we are charging the customer for the development part of the land, for which you will be having a scientific backup proof also. Because land का circle rate होता है, जो आपने development किया है उसकी आपके पास पूरा costing है, because you have spent the money for the development, and in fact you can actually take the input tax credit also उसके ऊपर अगर आप पूरा tax देंगे. If we can differentiate the two, now see how simple solution could be to save yourself from the future litigation, to save yourself from the higher liabilities, which can, even if the higher liabilities are disputed, you are caught with so much of tax and penalties. So this is one, and like now you see that if while drafting the agreement, if I can take care of this, how much I can save myself. Another example I will take for the mitigation, of course. अब जैसे हमारा time of supply है, when you look at the time of supply for a continuous service, वो क्या कहते हैं कि आपके agreement में जो भी milestone लिखा है, one of course is the date of issue of invoice or the date of receipt of payment, और जो आपका डेट ऑफ कंप्लीशन ऑफ सर्विस है या डेट ऑफ रिसीट ऑफ सर्विस है, रादर कंप्लीशन ऑफ सर्विस, सर्विस एक्स का वर्ड है, सो डेट ऑफ रिसीट ऑफ सर्विस है, दैट इज द डेट व्हेन द माइलस्टोन इज मेंशन्ड, द डेट ऑफ माइलस्टोन व्हिच इज मेंशन्ड इन योर एग्रीमेंट. तो क्या होता है, कभी कभी आपने देखा होगा कि जो कंस्ट्रक्शन के एग्रीमेंट्स होते हैं आमतौर पर वो कभी टाइम पर पूरे होते ही नहीं. सपोज यू गो, यू वांट टू बाय अ फ्लैट, यू गो, यू पे मनी एंड द एग्रीमेंट सेज कि भाई ये तो आपका बुकिंग अमाउंट है, आप 6 महीना के बाद इतने पैसे दे देना, 1 साल के बाद इतने दे देना, 1.5 साल के बाद इतने दे देना. जनरली एक तो ये इस तरीके का ड्राफ्टिंग हो गया. दूसरे तरीके का ड्राफ्टिंग होता है जहां पर आप बोलते हो, वो बोलते हैं कि 25% जब कंस्ट्रक्शन कंप्लीट होगा तो इतना दे देना, 50% कंप्लीट होगा तो इतना दे देना. सो द माइलस्टोन्स कैन बी डिफाइंड इन एनी मैनर, manner 1 or manner 2, or there may be certain other manner which is defined in the agreement. So now suppose आपका टाइम बेस्ड अग्रीमेंट है और क्या हुआ, somehow उसकी तो कंस्ट्रक्शन अभी स्टार्ट ही नहीं हुई, अग्रीमेंट में लिखा है कि 6 महीने के बाद पैसे देने, और उसने, लेकिन अग्रीमेंट कंस्ट्रक्शन स्टार्ट ही नहीं हुई, उसने इनवॉइस भी आपको इशू नहीं किया, बिकॉज उसको भी पता है कि मैं कैसे पैसे लूं, आई कैन नॉट इशू द इनवॉइस. बट अगर इफ यू विल स्टार्ट लुकिंग एट द प्रोविजंस इन रिलेशन टू द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई, यू विल फाइंड उसका तो टैक्स ड्यू होता जा रहा है भाई, बिकॉज उसका तो सर्विस रिसीव हो गया और सर्विस उसके विद इन 30 days तो मेरे को इनवॉइस इशू करना था, वो इनवॉइस इशू नहीं भी किया, स्टिल आई एम कॉट देयर. सो व्हाट आई नीड टू डू, आई नीड टू मार्क करेक्शन इन माय एग्रीमेंट. सो अगेन very interesting examples, you know. If I come to the block credit part, I will see that मेरा renovation भी होता है या construction भी होता है, जो कि construction के definition में cover होता है. I won't get input credit, but अगर मैं उसको capitalize ना करूँ तो मुझे मिल जाता है. अब I take an example. अभी somebody called me, ये 2-3 दिन पहले. He got construction of a building done and then he got electricity का जो पूरा सारा काम उसके अंदर कराया. तो the question was कि भाई जो मैंने इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का काम कराया है, क्या उस पर भी क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा? If you start thinking in your mind, You know the answer. अगर आपके एग्रीमेंट जो कंस्ट्रक्शन का एग्रीमेंट है आपने उसको एक कंपोजिट बना दिया और आपने कहा कि भाई जो जब तुम कंस्ट्रक्शन करोगे तो तुम्हारी जिम्मेदारी है, तुम इसमें इलेक्ट्रिसिटी भी करोगे, ये भी करोगे, वो भी करोगे, whatever you have covered in that entire agreement will become part of that and your entire credit will get blocked. So what you will do at the time of transaction structuring, what you will do at the time of agreement drafting, काम वही है, physical process वही है, but we can think of it, we can find some alternate ways of doing it. It is not evasion of tax which we are talking. It is just giving some attention to the larger details and seeing can we do something about it when the time has not passed. In fact, you have to do it as the first thing in the first instance. And mind you, each word which you use to describe your service is very important in the agreement. I'll take another example. एक और area है agreements में देखने का, that is classification. If I say there are some disputed services, goods में generally इतना problem नहीं आता है, goods में भी आता है, because I think there was an advance ruling जिसमें उन्होंने पराठे के ऊपर 18% लगा दिया था. Because they said कि ये जो exemption है ये सिर्फ रोटी को है, पराठे को नहीं है. So, but usually जब आप देखेंगे इसके अंदर, I will give an example of sponsorship and the business promotion service. Because what happens when it is a sponsorship? What happens? The liability to pay tax is on the recipient. When it is business promotion, the liability to pay tax is on the provider. Or suppose I take an example that you organize an event. And in that event, the other person says कि भाई तुम मेरा जो नाम का स्टैंडी रख दो या कुछ भी यहाँ पर रख दो, and I will pay you X amount for doing that. Now what is this? This is business promotion. But if he says that I will sponsor your function event, and then you place this standee, but वो जो sponsorship की essence है, these are English words. दोनों cases में business promotion हो रहा है. But sponsorship has an additional essence. Sponsorship involves an intent of sponsoring the event, and those are side activities which are being done. You will say कि ठीक है मुझे कुछ free tickets दे दो, मुझे कुछ जो consideration sponsorship की define होगी. There is no way one can differentiate between the two. It all comes from the words which you are using, and how do you want to. So अगर तो कोई बड़ा typical sponsorship है, that is a different thing. But the point is these kind of things, और एक हम लोगों को थोड़ा सा आदत है Indians को, हम words को बहुत loosely use करते हैं. And the moment you use the words loosely, you are gone. And I will take an example where in the case of a distributor, like there was services, soft drink industry particularly I'm referring, what they do, the distributors there, the people who are called distributor are practically buyer and seller. They do buy the bottles and they do sell them with a profit margin thereon. And the margin which they get is written as broker's commission, or the agreement is called distributor's agreement. And I know that in service tax, we had years and years of dispute in the court. In the end, of course, you get the relief. But just because the fact the department said, bhai, ye to distributor hai, ye to commission hai, iske upar to service tax lagega. Same in the GST. So the point again I'm trying to make is that one dimension which is very significant in the GST is drafting of agreement or vetting of agreement. So it is advisable अभी भी क्योंकि लोगों को हमारे यहाँ पर crisis management एक factor है, तो GST में जब भी कुछ होता है तो शायद हम अभी तक उसको उतना value नहीं कर पाए हैं. We do know हमें डरना आता है. We are fearful from the department. And our world actually वो सिमट जाता है department के around और हमारे returns के around. But I think the larger thing or the bigger thing which we can do in the background as a core professional, I think they can add so much value कि आपको आगे problem आएगा ही नहीं. Okay, now getting to another dimension which I would like to talk is very simple and very basic, that is accounting. If as a GST practitioner, I always say, if I am a good accountant, I can never have any issue in GST. The problem with us is that when we are doing accounting, we are not making the proper documentation which is required. We loosely do accounting, and so many times we do even work back. And that's where the problem comes. एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग बात है कि जब ये हम क्रेडिट नोट और डेबिट नोट की बात करते हैं जीएसटी के अंदर, तो हम ये देखते हैं कि ऐसा लगता है कि जीएसटी में ही इनका इजाद हुआ है, ये नए बने हैं क्रेडिट नोट और डेबिट नोट, although these are the accounting concepts, but how many of us are there जीएसटी की अगर जरूरत ना हो और मेरा सामान कहीं से वापस आना है, गुड्स रिटर्न, आई मेड अ सेल ऑफ say 100 rupees and I get a good returns of 20 rupees. How many of us were making credit notes prior to GST? We don't. And वो जो corresponding है दूसरे वाला आदमी जो recipient है, how many of us are making debit notes? अभी तक 90% क्या, I can't say percentage because I find almost everybody, I mean that will be derogated, not everybody, I will say 80 to 90% people, you know, when you talk, उनको ये नहीं पता कि जब हम जीएसटी में डेबिट नोट और क्रेडिट नोट की बात करते हैं तो इट इज ओनली दैट क्रेडिट नोट एंड दैट डेबिट नोट विच इज इश्यूड बाय द सप्लायर. अगर रिसिपिएंट डेबिट नोट या क्रेडिट नोट इश्यू करे या ना करे या दोनों करे, it does not make iota of difference to the taxability or any other procedure in the law. So it is only the issuance of debit or credit note by the supplier which makes a difference, one. And two, even if it is done by the supplier, there are two types of credit notes, debit note nahi, two types of credit notes. One is the GST credit note, two is the financial credit note. So the financial credit note again does not make any difference to the GST law. आप issue करो मत करो, लेकिन करना चाहिए. क्यों करना चाहिए? उससे आपको रिकंसिलिएशन में आसानी हो जाएगी. एंड इनफैक्ट फाइनेंशियल क्रेडिट नोट हमें हमेशा से इश्यू करना चाहिए था जब जीएसटी नहीं भी आया था, बिकॉज अगर आप अभी भी देखेंगे, आप जब अपनी ट्रांजेक्शन्स बुक करते हैं तो बहुत सारी ट्रांजेक्शन्स जिनकी नेट इफेक्ट होती है आप बुक ही नहीं करते. और कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि आप बुक तो करते हैं लेकिन उसकी कोई डॉक्यूमेंटेशन नहीं बनाते. आई विल टेक अ वेरी प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल. जब ये लॉ नया नया आया था, अभी क्या है इसके अंदर, हमें पता है कि इवन जिनकी कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, जिनकी कोई मॉनिटरी वैल्यू नहीं है जिन ट्रांजेक्शन्स की, उसके अंदर भी उसको वैल्यू करके दे हैव टू बी बुक्ड एंड उसके ऊपर हमें टैक्स पे करना होता है. यहाँ तो मॉनिटरी पूरी रिकॉर्ड नहीं होती, पर नॉन मॉनिटरी का क्या होता है आप देखिए. अभी आई विल टेक एन एग्जांपल. उसमें क्या था कि देयर वाज अ स्टेट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंपनी हु वाज गेटिंग द कोल, कोयला होता है जो, वो उसको वॉश कराते हैं, उनको वॉशरीज से, कोल वॉशरीज होती हैं. एंड दे हैड एन अग्रीमेंट कि भाई आपका जो कोयला वो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंपनी खरीदेगी, कोयला डायरेक्टली जाएगा वॉशरी के पास, वॉशरी उसको वॉश करेगी और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंपनी को भेज देगी. अभी क्या होता था कि वो 100 यूनिट जाता था कोयला, 100 में से जब वॉश करते थे तो वो 80 यूनिट जो है वो ही प्रोडक्टिव होती थी, बाकी सब रिजेक्टेड होती थी. तो जो असली कंसिडरेशन था उसके अंदर वो क्या था कि वो जो कोल वाली वॉशरी है वो 20 यूनिट जो रिजेक्टेड है वो अपने पास रख लेगी. एंड देयर वाज अ वेरी स्मॉल amount of monetary consideration which was given, और वो बाजार में बेच देते थे उसको. सिंपल ट्रांजेक्शन. तो जो कंसिडरेशन वॉशरी ने किसके ऊपर टैक्स दिया, वॉशरी को क्या मिला, 20% रिजेक्टेड कोल प्लस द सम स्मॉल मनी अमाउंट. और वो 20% रिजेक्टेड कोल को उसने वो बेच देते थे मार्केट में, और उनका एक अपना तरीका था वैल्यूएशन का, उन्होंने किया. लेकिन ये इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंपनी क्या कर रही थी, इट वॉज सिंपली रिकॉर्डिंग रिसीट ऑफ 80 यूनिट्स ऑफ कोल इन देयर बुक्स. यानी उनके बुक्स में 100 यूनिट्स कभी आए ही नहीं. और अगर मैं अकाउंट्स को देखूं तो क्या हुआ, पैसे तो उतने ही गए, तो आपके फाइनेंशियल्स पे तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा. बट क्या हुआ, क्योंकि आपने 100 यूनिट नहीं दिए थे, इसलिए आप एक बीच का इनवॉइस नहीं बना पाए 20 रिजेक्टेड यूनिट का. और क्योंकि वो इनवॉइस नहीं बना पाए, आप उसका क्रेडिट ट्रांसफर नहीं कर पाए, कंपेंसेशन सेस लगता था. और बिकॉज ऑफ दैट फैक्टर वो वॉशरी के बंद होने की नौबत आ गई, बिकॉज दैट वाज अ मेजर चंक ऑफ दी, वो जब बेचते थे तो बेसिकली जितना उनका कंपेंसेशन सेस है ऑलमोस्ट दैट वाज द मार्जिन. So can you imagine, you know, the small gap in the documentation, how much difference it can make? So that is why I see that if you are similarly, you know, when I talk about your input tax credit में एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ क्या होता है, हम कंपनी के अंदर ERPs होते हैं सब मेजरली बड़ी कंपनीज में, और जो सबसे छोटा बच्चा है जो कि द पर्सन हु इज एट द लास्ट रंग ऑफ द लेडर, उसको आप बुक एंट्री करने बिठा देते हो कि बेटा तू कर ले. at the first stage when you receive the invoice. When you receive the invoice at the first stage, आप उसमें mark कर देते हो whether you इसके अंदर credit मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा. Now who is deciding that whether the credit is available or not? That person who is punching the data. I'm talking very practical thing. Now what happened? अब उसने तो कर दिया, because law changes every day. हो सकता है जहां पर नोशन हो कि इसका क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा आज, वो 2 महीने बाद बदल जाए, कोई ऐसी जजमेंट आ जाए, और it can be vice versa. Now that person who is mechanically doing that job is punching whether you will get credit or you will not get credit. अब इसमें कौन नुकसान? तो ये हुआ कि आपको जो तो क्रेडिट मिल, मतलब you may get a wrong credit and you may not get the right credit. That is one. And secondly, अगर कोई रिव्यू भी करने आ गया बाद में, दूसरा चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट who thinks that he is very intelligent, उसको डेटा ही नहीं मिलेगा, वो तो जाके एक्सपेंस ऑफ हो गया. Suppose at the first instance you said कि आपको क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा, तो क्या होगा? वो प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट में जाके उसका अमाउंट क्या होगा? एक्सपेंस ऑफ हो जाएगा. So once that gets expensed off, so there is one technical problem. Now you can't take that credit unless the year is not passed and the adjustments are being done. और दूसरा, आप रिव्यू के लिए जब डेटा लोगे तो शायद वो आपके रिव्यू डेटा में आएगा ही नहीं, बिकॉज वो तो उसके अंदर पड़ा हुआ है जहां क्रेडिट मिलना नहीं है. सो अगेन व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज वी नीड टू टेक केयर. अगर हम अपनी अकाउंटिंग की टेक केयर नहीं करेंगे तो जीएसटी में हमें बिना कुछ गलत करे, बिकॉज अभी क्या हो रहा है, जैसे नोटिस आ रहे हैं, हम सबको पता है दे आर वर्किंग ऑन द रेशियोज एट द बैक एंड ऑफ द सिस्टम. रेशियोज में ये भी आता है कि आपका इनपुट परचेजेस कितना आया था, आपका स्टॉक से कितना रेशियो है आपके टर्नओवर का, आपका परचेजेस से कितना रेशियो है आपका टर्नओवर का. अगर आपने, जैसे मैंने इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वाले का एग्जांपल लिया, ये 180 नहीं आया तो आपका तो गड़बड़ हो जाएगा ना उस रेशियो में, देन यू आर कॉट फॉर ऑडिट, और उसके बाद आपको एक्सप्लेन करते नहीं बनेगा. सो द पॉइंट अगेन व्हिच आई से एवरीबडी. और एक और बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात मैं, क्योंकि ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, सो आई विल टेक इट अप. I am sharing this experience that when GST came, I went to one city. I will not name the city. What the entire industry of one particular thing was doing, वो उनके पास केमिकल वेस्ट होता था जो वो डिस्पोज ऑफ करते थे. अब वो केमिकल वेस्ट डिस्पोज ऑफ जब करते थे तो प्रैक्टिकली what they are doing, and they used to pay some money to the person who is taking the chemical waste. So practically what they are doing, they are seeking the services of waste disposal and they are making payment for that. यही हो रहा है ना? They should have booked it as an expense. But what they were doing, they were booking it as they were booking it as sale of chemical waste, जिसके अंदर discount was more than the price. If 100 rupees was price, 120 rupees was discount, and it was being sold at -20. Have you ever seen such accounting? I said to आप लोग, and the entire industry and the entire city, it was a gathering of 200 chartered accountants. I said, how you are doing it, how you are booking it? He said, हम तो 20 साल से ही करते आ रहे हैं, because P&L में जाके netting हो जाती है, your good sale is 100 rupees, your minus sale is say 20 rupees, so your net sales come 80 rupees in the P&L account, it works. How you are telling us कि it will not work? I said, returns file हो गई GST में? हाँ file हो गई. Invoices भी डाल दी, credit note भी डाल दिए, हाँ डाल दिए. They are not aware कि जिस दिन नोटिस आएगा हो सकता है उसमें 2 साल लग जाए, 3 साल लग जाए, then they will be caught. और जबकि इंटरेस्टिंग बात क्या है, as an accountant we know कि दोनों केसेस में financial impact will be same. There is
if I can interrupt, sorry,
yeah.
But like we are facing issues with in case of like agents, if we have those travel agents and all. So you know, I have seen like almost everyone is giving a different impact of that. Some are taking the gross sales, like, and taking the inputs which airlines are giving, which yes. I feel we should not take. I mean, as a travel agent. And what I am doing, because I saw the institute guidance note also on that, and that was that you have to show the net sales, your margins. And now we are like showing the net sales as our turnover, but in the accounts the turnover would be say 10 crores, but in our books the turnover would be maybe 50 lakhs or 80 lakhs or like that, just the margin. So can you just guide on that also, like after the session? Sorry for the interruption. I mean, or maybe when you finish with your.
Yeah, actually, see, आपने बहुत ही अच्छा सवाल पूछा है। ये बड़ी सारी इंडस्ट्रीज की प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि हम लोग ना बहुत लूजली अकाउंटिंग करते चले आ रहे हैं। तो अभी क्या करना चाहिए अपने को? कुछ, it is not a rocket science at all, you know. The most logical thing which should come to a chartered accountant. तो आप उस ट्रांजेक्शन को, जब एक बार उस ट्रांजेक्शन को बुलेट वाइज चॉक आउट कर लीजिए। और एक इसकी जो एक क्रक्स है वो ये है कि मैं जब बिजनेस कर रहा हूँ, मेरे यहाँ पर एयरलाइंस है, मेरे यहाँ पर कस्टमर है, तो what I am getting from airline and what I am giving to airlines, that is one. What I am getting from customer, what I am giving from customer is another thing. These are the only two revenues which I am getting. तो किसी, अच्छा, जब भी आप कस्टमर को टिकट बेच रहे हो, प्रैक्टिकली दैट इज ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द एयरलाइन ओनली, इट इज नॉट यू। लेकिन मेरी तरीका बिलिंग करने का ऐसा है which make me fall in the problem. तो इसलिए मेरे बिल के ऊपर ये जो प्रॉब्लम है ना, इट इज नॉट ओनली व्हेन आई सी अकाउंटिंग, आई मीन टू से वी नीड टू अलाइन एवरीथिंग, जो कि शायद हमें अपने जो अब तक हम करते आए हैं उसके कमर्शियल ब्रोशर में क्या लिखा है, उसके इनवॉइस के ऊपर क्या लिखा है, उसके ट्रांजैक्शन में बैंकिंग डिटेल्स किस तरीके से आ जा रही हैं. You will have a complete fun when you will start aligning it, you know, and then you will find this is the only way. Because I have dealt with many associations of, ये भी service tax के time का issue है, you must be knowing that. Yes. They never wanted to give the tax on the commission part, and they said,
we did have service tax in JNK earlier, so I'm not that well versed with service tax.
Actually, वो ITA was there ना, organization तो same है. So,
but there was no But मतलब यहाँ पे हमारा सर्विस टैक्स नहीं था, so we were, in fact, I feel कि उस मामले में हमें थोड़ी सी मुश्किल लगी in case of GST, but then we didn't have service tax at all.
Yeah, so, नहीं, but the problems are similar because मेरा reference point वहीं से आता है. क्यों आता है? क्योंकि वो processes हैं. Again, I go to processes. तो इसके अंदर सिर्फ यही कैच है, और आपको सिर्फ जो सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं जो इन्वॉल्व हैं इस ट्रांजेक्शन के अंदर, जो कि एयरलाइन से उनको मिला कमीशन का चिट्ठा, बिकॉज क्या होता है, आपको जब भी वो वर्बली क्लाइंट बताएगा वो कभी सही होगा नहीं. वो वर्बली, बिकॉज उसकी he speaks from a different understanding and different standpoint. So unless you will look at the document yourself, you will not be able to decipher कि सही क्या है इसके अंदर. और again, there can't be a generic answer for everybody. Because ये वाला लाइन ऐसा है जिसके अंदर हर आदमी ट्रांजेक्शन बड़े वेरिड मोड में करता है. तो जरूरी नहीं है कि जो जैसे हमने मोटा मोटा अगर सुने फीचर्स और सुन करके मैं आपको अगर कुछ बता दूं, दैट मे नॉट बी ट्रू फॉर योर क्लाइंट. सो ये इट इज नॉट अगेन ट्रेवल ओनली. इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स के अंदर ये ब्यूटी है, इट इज ऑलवेज सो मच फैक्ट स्पेसिफिक. एंड द डे यू विल, जिस दिन आपको ये, जैसे अभी क्लाइंट आता है, एक सबको आंसर एकदम चाहिए, और हम लोग एज ए चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हमारी इंस्टिंक्ट होती है, हम चाहते हैं हम फटाफट आंसर दें. And I will tell one should, अगर आपको सब कुछ भी आता है, मैं आज तक नहीं देती हूँ, unless you know बहुत ही ज्यादा जेनेरिक वाला क्वेश्चन हो. बिकॉज अगर एक डेफिनेशन मैंने 1000 बार भी पढ़ी है, I would like to read it again, keeping your problem in my mind. So इसलिए इसके में आप जब इसको डिजाइन करोगे ना, you make a flow chart of the process. वो आपको ऐसा रास्ता दिखा देगा, आपको समझ में आ जाएगा इसकी क्या सही अकाउंटिंग है. उसके बाद अगर आपको कुछ प्लान करना है, बिकॉज पहले एज इज तो समझ में आवे व्हाट इज द पोजीशन, देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू प्लान इट. सो आई थिंक thanks. I also enjoy, you know, you asked me a question, so I feel that somebody is listening to me. So anything,
somebody more than 1000, they are listening to you actually. And in fact, the GST is like in the, you know, we quotation we read, you learn nothing from life if you think you are right all the time. Yes. This is same in the case of GST. I think he keep on learning and then relearning and unlearning. So the process has to be made.
Yeah, it is a consistent evolution. I would say.
To make it a core area, you have to restart the process of learning. It's never say कि stop. No, I know everything.
ये अच्छा हो गया कि अब हमारी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट बहुत सारा पढ़ने सुनने लगे हैं विद जीएसटी. So अच्छा, तो अभी हमने बात किया कि हमारी जो डायमेंशंस हमने देखी, one was agreement structuring, I mean agreement vetting and just seeing that in my documentation I am मेरी जो wordings है वो ठीक है, मेरे जो descriptions है वो ठीक है, मेरा classification ठीक है, मेरी transaction की processes ठीक है. That is in the agreement 1. 2, I need to do proper transaction structuring, जो कि अभी जैसे स्मृति ने पूछा question, उस वाले केस के अंदर maybe we may require some transaction structuring, but first we need to understand what is that, and फिर वो मेरे accounts में कैसे reflect कर रहा है, because ये बहुत सारे accounts की problem है कि हम इतना high turnover दिखा देते हैं अपने accounts के अंदर कि वो वैसी attention catch कर लेता है, although जो मेरा actual turnover है which is actually pertaining to me may be very less, but उसका major reason क्या होता है कि मेरे जो bill है उसके अंदर मैं ऐसे bill करता हूँ as if it is my bill.
In case of RTR, this problem also came. There are so many sources. RTR commission agent, they show sometimes their turnover, but actually the commission that is.
लेकिन उसके अंदर एक genuine commercial issue भी है कि वो अपने ticket का पैसा he doesn't want to disclose before the customer. तो ऐसा नहीं है. When we do plan, we just see that there could be some commercial reason also. तो वो हम देख लेते हैं. तो again, it has to be a combination of everything. Yeah. तो अभी इसके बाद फिर हम जाते हैं एक और जो इसकी डायमेंशन है आजकल जो नई पैदा हुई है जीएसटी में, ये तो सब पुरानी वो है कि हाउ टू डील विद द डिपार्टमेंट, because we know that what is happening as GST is a new law for us, it is a new law for the department as well. So at times the people there do not know the law properly, and दूसरा they are very much enthusiastic as they were never before. तो और ये जो सिस्टम के कारण क्या हो गया है कि जब वो रिस्क असेस करते हैं अपना पीछे, तो जो रिस्क असेसमेंट के अंदर वो रेशियोज कंप्यूट करते हैं एट द बैक एंड, एज आई वाज टॉकिंग इन द बिगनिंग. वो रेशियोज क्या होते हैं कि आपने जैसे सपोज 100 रुपीज द टैक्स पेमेंट, आउट ऑफ दिस 100 रुपीज हाउ मच टैक्स यू हैव पेड बाय यूजिंग योर क्रेडिट, हाउ मच you have paid by using cash. Suppose this is one ratio. Another ratio is in particular period, say in a quarter, how was your purchases and how much is your turnover. So those kind of ratios, in fact अगर आप देखेंगे 2015 में एक सर्विस टैक्स की सर्कुलर थी, उसके अंदर उन्होंने टेबल्स बनाकर बहुत सारी रेशियोज बनाई थी टू जस्ट चेक द हेल्थ, टू चेक द रिस्क पैरामीटर्स. और अभी भी एक जीएसटी ऑडिट मैनुअल है which you can find on the website. वहां पर बहुत rather you take that. तो जो जीएसटी ऑडिट मैनुअल आया है, अगर आप उसका चैप्टर 5 देखेंगे, you will find many ratios listed there. तो एक हम क्या कर सकते हैं, हम एडवांस में we can compute those ratios while doing analytics for our clients, and then we may see that how our clients stand in terms of the risk parameters with the department, because based on those risk parameters only they will select you for audit, or you may get notices from there. और कभी कभी क्या होता है, जरूरी नहीं है, रिस्क पैरामीटर डजंट मीन दैट आई एम रॉन्ग ऑलवेज. सपोज मेरे पास बहुत सारा इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट हो जाता है बिकॉज ऑफ द गिवन नेचर ऑफ माय बिजनेस, सो इट मे हैपन दैट आई एम यूजिंग 98-99% ऑफ माय ITC for the payment of tax. I am not saying it is incorrect, but what department will do, department will say, अच्छा इतना सारा credit use हुआ है, that means I need to go and check. So similarly, what they do, they check your reconciliations, they check the comparison between the tax payments and like turnover in 3CB or 3B or GST or 1, या फिर 2A और 3B को compare करते हैं और वो आपको simply चिट्ठियां भेज देते हैं. And at times you will find कि ये तो गलत है जो उसके अंदर फिगर लिखती है. अब क्या है, अब जो this is a dimension, I would say this requires a different skill set. It is not a pure mathematics which you have to do. You must know how I should reply this letter, whether I should go to attend in person or I should not at all go to attend in person. So this is again, I think Anil ji बीच में बोलना चाह रहे हैं कि टाइम खत्म हो गया. Yeah? No. Acha. Okay. I'll just wrap it up. Yeah. So I think this is another dimension which I wanted to say. And lastly, I would say yes, litigation, of course, क्योंकि not only litigation, summons वाला जो practice है, जो कि अभी तक chartered accountant से थोड़ा दूर था. तो chartered accountants particularly, I would suggest हम लोगों को अपना attitude change करना पड़ेगा, because we want a smiling officer before us. And so the point is that we need to actually see, when we need to get stricter, when we need to, which language we need to use. And हमारा life का objective officer को खुश करना नहीं है, हमारी life का objective हमारे client को release दिलाना है. So I think some adjustments on the part of the attitude we need to do, and of course we need to do more reading. We need to have more knowledge on the judgments, because we need to be very, very much updated if we want to do that practice. But that's a totally different ball game. और अगर आप किसी का compliance कर भी रहे हैं और अगर आपको लगता है you are not into that practice, please seek help of somebody else, क्योंकि अगर एक बार कुछ बिगड़ गया तो परेशानी खड़ी हो सकती है. So I think with this I will close my deliberation. If any queries, anything, you are most welcome. And बहुत अच्छा लगा, इतने सारे smiling faces आमतौर पर होते नहीं है when you talk. So thank you so much. Thank you Pallavi ji, nice to see you here. Thank you Asha ji.
Now I extend my gratitude to the Committee of Member in Practice actually for organizing this wonderful and innovative webinar, combination of interactive and after that, the GST deliberation, and that is a wonderful or the stimulating one, and giving our branch the opportunity to host this event. My special thanks to Sanjeev sir and Prasanna Kumar sir, and heartfelt thanks to all the ladies who are superlative in their fields, to Rohini Agarwal ma'am especially, Survi ma'am, Asha Jan ma'am and Pallavi ma'am for their support and sparing their time. And now my gratitude to more than 1,000 participants on the ICAI TV for sparing their valuable time and giving us a morale boost. Yeah, girls are now apart.
Yeah, girls rock.
Thank you. I think this was a great session, and Rohini ma'am, I had learned so much today. I used to, try and understand GST, but with my direct tax knowledge, I used to feel like, but ये कैसे हो सकता है? So today, hearing you, I realized that ऐसे हो सकता है. So thank you so much. I've learned so much from you today. It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi ji. It's so wonderful. मुझको भी कुछ income tax का होगा, so I will come to you, because मुझको income tax बिल्कुल नहीं आता. So for me, that is Greek and Latin. So
it will be my pleasure. It will be my pleasure. And Asha ma'am, thank you for leading the way for most of us. We are behind you, and we are very lucky to follow your footsteps. And thank you, Sonia ji, Sanjeev sir, and the committee for organizing this wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Here is all mine. Seriously. Now to the technical team, please end the meeting.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.